Success is not a secret formula known only to a chosen few. It is a pattern, a system, a collection of deliberate and disciplined habits practiced consistently by highly effective people. Those who rise above the average not by luck or privilege, but by the power of their daily actions, decisions, and mindset. They understand that effectiveness is not just about achieving goals. It's about aligning one's inner values with outward actions, about living with intention rather than floating on the tide of circumstance. And at the heart of every effective person lies the foundational habit of being proactive, which means taking responsibility for your life, refusing to be a victim, and realizing that between stimulus and response lies a space in which you have the freedom to choose. For highly effective people do not wait for motivation. They create momentum through commitment and consistency, knowing that the moment you hand over your responsibility to circumstances or people is the moment you surrender your power, and from that foundation, they build the second habit. Begin with the end in mind, because they know life is not about running fast. It's about running in the right direction, about having a clear vision of where you want to go, about defining success for yourself, not according to society's shallow benchmarks, but according to your purpose, your values, your mission. And once that vision is clear, they make every day a step toward that future through the third habit. Put first things first, which means organizing life around priorities rather than distractions, saying no to good things so you can say yes to great ones, understanding that time is a non-renewable resource, and that every yes to a meaningless task is a no to a mission that matters. And they do this not through force, but through discipline, and that discipline gives birth to freedom, not restriction, but liberation from chaos, procrastination, and regret. And as they build mastery in their personal effectiveness, they grow into the realm of interpersonal success through the fourth habit. Think win-win, because highly effective people know that life is not a zero-sum game, that true success lies not in crushing others, but in creating value, in fostering relationships, based on mutual respect and benefit, in seeking solutions where everyone walks away better, not bitter, because win-win is not about weakness. It is about the strength to lift others while climbing yourself. And this mindset flows naturally into the fifth habit. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Because communication is not just about speaking, it is about listening, deeply, empathetically, without interrupting, without preparing a response while pretending to listen. For understanding builds trust, and trust builds bridges, and those bridges open doors that shouting and arrogance never will. And through this commitment to connection, effective people cultivate the sixth habit, synergize, the art of creative collaboration, where differences are not threats but treasures, where diversity of thought becomes an engine of innovation, where two minds create what neither could alone, because synergy is about celebrating strengths, compensating for weaknesses, and producing outcomes far beyond individual capacity. And underlying all of these is the seventh habit. Sharpen the saw, the principle of self-renewal, the practice of preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you will ever have. Yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. For highly effective people understand that burnout is not a badge of honor. It is a symptom of imbalance, and they invest in their well-being not out of selfishness, but because they know their effectiveness depends on their energy, clarity, and peace. And this includes exercising, reading, reflecting, meditating, sleeping, and spending time in nature or in prayer. Because they realize that self-care is not an escape from productivity. It is the engine of productivity. And as they grow themselves, they grow others. For effective people do not hoard their habits. They share them. They mentor, they inspire, they lift others as they climb, because they know that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that legacy is not what you leave behind, It's what you build in others while you're still here. And every one of these habits is not a one-time act, but a lifestyle. Not a checklist, but a compass, guiding daily choices and shaping character. And what's most inspiring is that these habits are not reserved for the elite. They are available to anyone willing to commit, to discipline themselves, to say no to comfort and yes to growth. Because the truth is, highly effective people are not born that way. They are made, moment by moment, decision by decision, through sweat, setbacks, and the unshakable belief that they can be more, do more, and give more. So if you want to join their ranks,
start now, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Take ownership of your life, define your vision, organize your priorities, foster healthy relationships, become an excellent listener, collaborate with openness, and never stop growing. Never
stop improving. Because the path to effectiveness is not a sprint, but a journey. And with every step you take, every habit you build, you become the kind of person who not only reaches goals, but transforms lives, who doesn't just chase success, but becomes significant. And that is the true measure of effectiveness, not in wealth, titles, or applause, but in the depth of your character, the impact of your contribution, and the integrity of your actions. So rise up today, decide who you want to become, commit to the habits that will get you there, and remember this always. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And when you become effective, not just in action, but in spirit, in purpose, in presence, you don't just succeed in life. You become a force that uplifts the world.